This is an ABC News special report.
Good morning. I'm Wade Johnson in New York. We're coming on the air with breaking news. Hamas is in the process of releasing hostages as part of a ceasefire deal with Israel. That ceasefire took effect just hours ago at 4:15 this morning Eastern time. It was delayed nearly 3 hours because Israel said it had not received the names of the 3 hostages who were to be released. But then those names were released, and I want to show you these live images right now. These are actually, this was recorded just moments ago. This is in Gaza. You can see the chaotic scene right there. It's not clear exactly what was happening here, but our understanding is that the hostages were in some of these vans, and this was the transfer between Hamas to the Red Cross. And then the Red Cross was then in charge of bringing those hostages back to Israel. But you can just see the crowds in the streets. The Hamas fighters were actually waving their guns at some of the people to try to get them out of the road. Chaotic moments just a short time ago. Now, the first hostages freed are 3 women, 24-year-old Romy Gonen, 28-year-old Emily Damari, and 31-year-old Daron Steinbecher. They have spent 471 days in captivity. Now, under this first phase of the deal, 33 hostages will be released over the next 6 weeks, and aid can now begin to move into Gaza. We've seen these images here, those aid trucks already lining up on the Egyptian side of the Gaza border. As part of the exchange, they would then go in, and you can see them going through the gates. And as part of the deal, Israel has also agreed to release hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. Now, back in October of 2024, ABC's Martha Raddatz visited the bullet-riddled homes of 2 of the women who were taken hostage and heard the stories of their abduction by Hamas. 2 Americans, Keith Siegel and Siegel Deckelhen, are not expected to be released today, but are supposed to be in that first group of 33. Again, about 250 people were kidnapped by Hamas on October 7th, 2023. It's believed that about 60 hostages are still alive. Let's go ahead and get to our team out in the field. We have ABC's chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, who's in Tel Aviv for us. Ian, we saw the images, the chaotic moments of that transfer. What's the latest on the ground there?
Yeah, I mean, we've just been witnessing incredible scenes. Finally, after 15 months of heartbreak, of dashed hopes, of bad news, of grieving, finally some smiles on the faces of the people gathered here. I'm just going to get the cameraman just to swing across into the crowd here. We've seen people cheering, we've seen people clapping, we've seen people hugging each other. Everyone is glued to Channel 11 News. If we turn around in the other direction, you can see there are families of the hostages waiting there on the left, and on the right, those are images that have been broadcast from inside Gaza. We're not going to stay on that image, but we believe that the hostages are now on their way to the IDF. As you said, we're expecting 33 phased over 6 weeks. It'll be 3 and then 4 and then a much larger tranche at the end there. We are, as you said, expecting those 2 Americans, Israelis, to also be part of that release. But what you hear from people here, this isn't total celebration, this isn't total jubilation. Firstly, too much has happened. There's been too much death, too much division, too much suffering. But they're also aware they want all the hostages home. Not all of them are alive. We know a significant number of those who are left behind are unfortunately dead, but still the families want their loved ones. I mean, again, just look at these scenes. Finally, seeing people smiling, seeing people cheering, something to be relieved about after so much heartbreak and pain in the country. This is phase 1 of the deal. There are 2 more phases, and negotiations to agree the release of the other hostages and to allow for peace to actually settle in still have to be undergone. This is going to be very hard for the Trump administration. They've been actively involved together with the Biden team in negotiating this stage of the deal with the Qataris, with the Egyptians, and other teams also involved. But negotiating what Gaza looks like afterwards, the scenes that we've been seeing is Hamas are on the street. It's Hamas who are in charge. Remember, the Israeli government right at the get-go set out that they were going to destroy Hamas, that Hamas couldn't be part of the solution afterwards. How are you going to achieve that? That is a challenge for the government. I'm going to just let you see the pictures here. It's hard not to smile as we see people celebrating, cheering, smiling. Similar scenes, of course, elsewhere in Gaza, We've seen people celebrating, but also in Ramallah, where people are awaiting their loved ones to be returned. Mainly women are going to be released, about 90 prisoners in this stage. I know Tom Sufi Burridge is there. It's getting loud here, so we'll hand back to you for now.
All right, Ian, those scenes of jubilation. Let's bring in our Chief Global Affairs correspondent, Martha Raddatz. And Martha, as we mentioned earlier, and we're seeing some of these pictures come in, you were there just back in October and actually connected with the families and the communities of two of these young women who were taken hostage.
I walked through Kfar Aza, the kibbutz where 700 people live. 62 of them were murdered, 19 were taken hostage. And I was right outside Emily and Doron's home, completely burnt, things scattered around. You can imagine the fight to get that woman in each house. There was someone across who was still held hostage, Ziv and Gali Berman, twin males who helped Emily. Gali went over there and tried to save her, but he too was taken hostage in a battle. He was texting his family saying, there's smoke in here. We have to finally get outside of the house. And now two of those women are now free. Another woman also freed. She was at the music festival. Romy, all of those women have been through so much, and you can see that chaos of transferring them from those vehicles, what that must have been like after all these months.
And can only imagine what those family members are feeling as they're waiting to actually embrace their loved ones for the first time. Martha, thank you so much. We've also been learning that President Biden will speak in just a little bit later this morning. He's been briefed throughout the course of the morning. We'll have live coverage on all of our platforms here, including ABC News Live and abcnews.com for continuing coverage. And then we'll have a full wrap-up here tonight on World News Tonight. For now, we'll return you back to regular programming. For some of you, that will be GMA. I'm Whit Johnson in New York. Good day.